You do need to pitch bend. You could use an expression pedal to do it. Problem is the pedal input isn't tied to pitch, so the only way to do that would be, at least that I know of, is to use one of these things, the Midi Solutions pedal controller. And you have to kind of download the app and plug it into an audio interface, and then plug it into your computer and send out your presets and the code that you write, and the settings through the MIDI connection. So the out of your audio interface into the in, and then you write it. And by default it's set to something else, but like the second option is to tie the pitch, is to do the pedal input to pitch. So I set that from 64 up to 127 as its range. And maybe I should have done 0 to 127 because it's a bit funky. Sometimes it transposes the keyboard itself. So like on this Roland thing, if it's I think it works best if this wheel here is set all the way to 0, because it kind of flips around and transposes the key more if as you go all the way up to 10. So if we leave it at 0, well, that works. Something interesting. The Aftertouch opens the filter. And it also controls the LFO to make it vibrato. So that's the two functions of the Aftertouch. And if you were doing a solo and you don't have a free hand because it's holding down a chord or doing something else to bend the note, you won't be able to use the bender, as it's called here. You can set the intensity. So it reaches all the way to an octave. You can control with it VCO1 or VCO2 or both together. Now I think that the MIDI wheel has a range of 0 to 127 values. And in the middle of that, I think the center number is 64. So from 64, if it's right now in the middle, anything 64 or above, all the way up to 127, is bending the pitch up. And anything lower, 63 down to 0, is bending the pitch down. So that's about a fifth when it's set at 12 o'clock on the bender intensity. It would take some getting used to, but if you... It's a cool way to make use of the MIDI input. Since this is such a good master controller, you can control CV and you're sending MIDI out, but seldom do I see a situation where you're using the MIDI import. So this could be one way to use that. The only problem is that the little MIDI Solutions box doesn't always power on. you have to be able to get the red light on. And so with the out going into the in of the Vermona 14, the in is providing the power here, which is the out of the Hammond XK5, because that's a keyboard that provides so-called phantom power through the 5-pin MIDI connection.